Okay. Vampire. Wonder what I'm gonna name this one.
Hell if I know, man.
Did you like my my video name for the other one?
Yeah.
I'll figure this one out. But hey, now I can actually read the notes instead of just having to pause for like forever in a day. I figured it's always nicer to do that, just kind of take your time reading it. So if someone does watch, they can take their time and read it too.
Yeah, that's my thought. I don't like it when Let's Players just, like, pick up a note and then immediately exit out of it.
Browse over it, and then be like, oh, if you guys want to read it, go ahead and go back and pause it. So,
Yeah.
I want to explore a bit.
Like an explorer boy.
You can do better than that. Nah, it's my turn.
I can't run.
Rotten or pristine, each heart continues the seed of life. Drink at this river, dry it all.
Oh, come on, you bastard. I won't bite.
Sir, please. You've lost too much blood. Calm yourself.
You think I didn't notice? Stop your staring and get me to an hospital, you arse!
Insulting a good Samaritan. Not exactly the way to get rescued.
Alright, sorry. I am in pain here. Me guts are spilling out onto the street and you're yabbering on.
Yes. That's a very nasty wound you've got there. Take my word, I am a doctor. Dr. Jonathan Reed.
Name's Clay Cox. I'd appreciate you helping me to a better place, Doc.
Follow me, Mr. Cox. Let me assist you to that better place.
Blood quality. The blood quality indicates how much XP you will obtain from a particular citizen. The higher the blood quality, the more XP you get. Mesmerized. To drink the blood of your prey, you first need to mesmerize them to lead them out of sight from others. Your mesmerized level must be equal or higher than the citizen's resistance. Press Q to mesmerize Clay. Which, this is part of the tutorial, so let's mesmerize him. But this game, you obviously know,
Bring this fading light into the shadows. Dance with him
has a
the
very
dance of life and death.
in-depth system of your choices matter. So what I'm going to do, I'm thinking if I do kill anybody, it's going to be after I figure everything out about him so I can get the most from him. But otherwise, I personally typically like doing good playthroughs first, so yes.
No more. Not tonight. Not like this.
Ooh, I got
I
another.
will not take another life.
Ew. I hate this auto run, honestly. Kind of makes the game feel kind of. Make sure there was no loot. I'll back this way. I don't think so. I didn't see anything. But it's hard when you're in the vampire.
Yeah.
Void. This game kinda. Oh.
It is wise for the huntsman to sometimes let his prey go, but no famished hunter can run for long.
Oh, looks like my person is kinda hungry.
Kinda, putting it lightly.
I'll find some rats. was born, making sure I can be the best doctor I can be.
Which is to say, mediocre at best, given how medical sciences back then were still pretty,
Stay-at-home influenza, frequently complicated with pneumonia. To prevent any case of Spanish flu, stay at home.
sound familiar?
Oh yeah. I mean, this is a very interesting game to be playing right now, of course.
That is.
With COVID and all. Let's see. Oh. Let's remove. How do you move the map? Not that way. Ooh, it's a pan cycle. Hideout. It's the docks, hospital. Whitechapel, West End. So those... I started out over here, I'm guessing? No, I started down at... However you pronounce that.
I wasn't looking, because the dog is busy giving me that weird face.
I feel it.
I
think
Suffolk.
it's... Yeah, Suffolk.
Suffolk or something, yeah.
I guess we'll go talk to the hospital. Only half health.
Can I help you, dog?
Oh, okay.
Doctor, where have you been? I've little time to play hide and seek with new staff members, no matter how illustrious they may be.
I found a wounded man by the docks. He answers to the name of Clay Cox. He requires urgent medical attention.
Already making the rounds? That's the Pembroke spirit. I'll ask our porter, Milton, to bring him back immediately.
Thank you, nurse. What can I do for you?
Dr. Swansea insisted we provide you a quiet office. You'll find it on the second floor with your name on the door.
Thank you. Nurse Crane, isn't it?
Yes, Dorothy Crane. Welcome to Pembroke Hospital, Dr. Reed. Your office has been prepared.
I would like to ask a few questions first. And Mr. Hampton, the patient we brought in, how does he fare?
I gave him a sedative to help him sleep. Poor thing was in quite a state of shock.
What kind of man is Dr. Swansea?
Well, you accepted the job from him. I thought you would have known about your employer.
It's right to assume Dr. Swansea knows far more about me than I do about him.
You'll get to know him soon enough, and better than me. The administrator has better things to do than mix with us.
Apologies, I've only just met him the once. This is sudden. I've only just returned to England.
Dr. Swansea is a brilliant surgeon and the most compassionate physician.
If you could point me in the direction of my room again, nurse.
Second floor of the hospital, left after the stairs. It's the last vacant office at the end of the corridor.
There's not really much I can learn about her. She's only got 3
Not yet.
hits. But look at that blood quality.
3-3.
And her mesmerize level's pretty low. So if you've seen in the previous video, I kind of touched base on this, kind of looked at them. These people will pop up over time. You can either find them in, like, I don't think they're random events, but stuff, I guess you can find them running around in the streets getting attacked by, you know, other things. And if they die there, they die in here, and that loses out on, you know, quest options and all that kind of stuff.
Well, that's unfortunate.
If you notice, this guy has fatigue. He has no relationships or anything, so I'm not entirely sure how I'm gonna unlock his hints. Maybe if I give him a treatment, he'll unlock a little bit more. I don't know.
Mayhap.
No investigations, no investigations. Yep.
Thank you, Nurse Crane.
Just seen someone back. So let's go introduce ourselves to this fellow.
Good evening, sir.
So it is true. The famous Dr. Reed has joined us. I can't think of any better news during these terrible times.
Do we know each other?
Actually, yes. We met once before, at the Rockefeller University in New York.
Dr. Tippett, yes, I remember. I was assisting Professor Carell in his research about coronary bypasses. He had nothing but praise for you.
He was also very confident about your future. And look at you now. Eminent surgeon and blood transfusion specialist.
What is the Pembroke Hospital situation? And please, speak freely.
This hospital is not exactly the best of London. I'm sure you are used to working in a better environment.
It's more than enough. In any case, the personnel of a hospital are much more important to me than the building.
Don't be misled by appearances, Dr. Reed. This hospital does not lack talented people. It just lacks hope.
What can you tell me about the staff in the hospital?
Some are really good, and others are not so good. But during this troubled period, there is no time for slander. I prefer to focus on the positive character traits.
Tell me more about cherished people, then.
Nurse Brannigan is a pearl. She is the most helpful and dedicated nurse I've ever worked with. A clever and cheerful woman.
You really seem to admire her skills.
Oh, look at that.
I'll go even further. If she was a man, she would be a damn fine practitioner.
Any opinion about the management?
I don't always agree with Dr. Swansea's reserve, but I must admit he does all he can to keep this facility running during this crisis.
Ah, yes, the burden of command. I was fed up with this concept while serving as a medical officer.
Don't get me wrong. Swansea's a good administrator. I just wish he would get out of his office now and again.
This is medical checkup stuff.
Do you need any medical assistance yourself, Doctor?
Come on, don't be ridiculous, dear colleague.
Huh, okay. Anything personal? It's required. Oh,
What can you tell me about the staff in the hospital?
should I just ask into this again?
Some are really good, and others are not so good. But during the...
Okay. Skip that. And then,
Goodbye, Dr. Tippett.
that's all. Sweet. I look like a dapper lad. Much better than in the first episode.
You look like Arthur Maxon.
Kinda, yeah. Alright, before I talk
Mixed with
to...
Richard Armitage.
Huh?
Mixed with Richard Armitage.
I won't lie, I'm not even gonna pretend to know what you're talking about.
He's an actor. He was the voice of the main character from the
Good
Castlevania
evening.
series.
I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed.
And he's also
new
Thorin
surgeon.
Oakenshield from The
Dr.
Hobbit.
Swansea has already told us about you, sir.
Right.
I'm Nurse Gwyneth Brannigan. Welcome to the Pembroke Hospital.
Did he really? It's a good thing I wasn't hoping to keep a low profile.
All members of staff have already read about your new blood transfusion technique. Dr. Swansea made sure of that.
I see. Well, I'm a little surprised, but I suppose I'll just have to deal with this unexpected notoriety.
You must know, blood transfusions are Dr. Swansea's primary subject of research. He is convinced it is the future.
The future of vampire
Not good,
snacks.
to say the least. We're struggling against an invisible enemy, more lethal than any bullet from a gun. It's hard, Doctor.
An invisible enemy. Quite a poetic term for a disease, especially from a nurse.
Sorry, Doctor. These last few weeks have been exhausting. We could all do with a good night's sleep.
Do you think this hospital can survive the epidemic?
We are all volunteers here, and we're trying to hold fast, but how do we beat an invisible killer? Some nurses have already resigned.
I'm not familiar with all the staff yet. Perhaps you could help me.
Brilliant professionals, most of them. Dr. Swansea has a gift for recruiting talent.
Most of them. Is there a problem I should know about, nurse?
It would be inappropriate for me to speak ill of a colleague.
Is there anyone that stands out?
Well, I have never met someone as dedicated as Dr. Tippett. He should be a standard for us all here. If only he were younger.
Why should his age be a problem?
I guess it's fair to say he's always pushing himself to the limits. He just doesn't know when to stop and get some rest.
There's another hint.
Nurse Brannigan, if you do know something, please tell me. Anything you say will be held in confidence.
No. I may disagree with some conduct, but in the end, everybody is doing their best.
Why does Dr. Tippett claim you're the main reason he keeps working, despite his fatigue?
If it wasn't for him, I probably would have left the Pembroke years ago.
Dr. Tippett does not think of you as just a nurse anymore, does he?
If you're suggesting he's not taking my gender into consideration when it comes to medical practice and knowledge, I really hope he doesn't.
That's all I can do with her, I think. Why not tribe?
Do you require medical assistance, nurse?
Thank you for your concern, but I'm fine.
And I think that's all I can do. Yes.
Goodbye, nurse. Call me if you need assistance.
So I can go back to Tippett's or I can sit on that hint. But if I go back to Tippett's now, I can pretty much... I imagine I can tell him to get some rest.
They know we are
I think
overwhelmed
I can loot it.
by this
Yes, it-
horrifying epidemic.
Good evening, Dr. Tippett.
Dr. Reed, any good news to share?
Nothing there. There we are.
You're exhausting yourself, Corcoran. Maybe you should think about preserving your strength.
No. We must keep on healing all those poor souls. We are the last rampart before chaos. Once more, unto the breach.
See, knowing already what's going on, it's not irresponsible, I don't believe. Oh no. The Y symbol here states an important decision, I think. Just gonna say this one because they seem to have a very close relationship.
Nurse Brannigan is worried about you, Doctor.
She should not have told you that. I will have a word with her.
You don't have to blame her for her honesty.
I'm not that kind of man, my dear Jonathan. Actually, Nurse Brannigan's opinion is the only one I may listen to.
And there's that. That should be all I
Goodbye,
can do with
Dr.
that
Tippett.
for now. So,
For now.
I'll probably have a late night rendezvous. And, you know, talk about things.
Oh yeah. And a whole lot of talking.
Well, of course, they're medical professionals.
Mm-hmm.
They allow me to get back here. Nothing to loot that I'm seeing. Or at least nothing shiny is catching my eye. What about in here? Nothing. Not even some spare shillings. Now where did that...
Back veins,
Yeah, pretty much. You, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Imagine being
Dr.
a doctor
Jonathan
and having to
Reed.
beg
I'm
for
new.
money.
I've already heard about you, Dr. Reed. I'm Milton Hooks, the ambulance driver for this shithole of a hospital.
That's quite a blunt introduction, Mr. Hooks.
You can call me Milton. I like to speak my mind, Dr. Reed. Perk of the job. Don't judge me, and I won't judge you.
I'm not sure I understand what you're talking about.
Well, I'm no doctor, but I'm pretty sure a gun can't be used as a surgical instrument.
You have a keen eye. I learned to shoot during the war, and have carried one ever since. Old habits die hard.
No need to explain, Dr. Reed. And if you ever need a better gun, remember, I may have something for you.
Oof, there was a typo.
Oof.
I don't know if you caught it, but Reed said old habits die hard, and the subtitle said all habits die hard.
Yeah. I noticed that. I've noticed that on more than one occasion. They've been fumbling over quite a few words.
Oh, it's fine.
I'd like to see your goods.
And if you
Wise
notice,
choice, Dr. Reed. A reliable gun is what everybody needs these days.
this guy seems to be a weapons smuggler.
Mm-hmm. You think?
Right, yeah. But the Milton shotgun, that would be nice, I think. But it's 315 shillings, and I only have 82. And
It's true, because you're a broke-ass bitch.
here's where I can sell things. But honestly, I need shotgun shells, so I might want to switch back to this one. Makes sense. Can I buy shotgun shells?
I don't know. Can you?
I don't want to.
Good evening,
I'll
Milton.
save my
Good evening,
shillings.
Doctor. Still trying to save
Now, it's
lives?
still an early game, so we'll figure it out. Let's see what Milton actually has to say.
How is the situation around here?
You want to hear the situation is all right? It's fucking awful. We lack everything, and it's getting worse every day.
Are you really smuggling weapons through the hospital?
And why not? I've already been attacked by patients, you know. And by gang members willing to steal my money.
But you're not defending yourself. You're selling guns to civilians.
You keep people alive your own way, Doctor. I offer them another way to protect their health.
So what do you do exactly in this hospital? Apart from smuggling guns, I mean.
I've been an ambulance driver since... too long, I guess. I bring sick people here night and day. It's a dirty job, but I get it done. Most of the time.
Since you're on the front line, how is the sanitary situation in this vicinity?
It's a complete disaster. It's even getting dangerous to enter some streets or buildings. Even the locals attack you.
It sounds like things have been a bit rough recently. What's happened?
Yesterday I got attacked by the patient I was bringing here. I escaped through the hospital's garden, but I lost my wallet when I was running.
You left an infected patient outside the hospital. That's incredibly dangerous.
Go there yourself if you want, but be careful, Doctor. I'd rather not bring your dead body back.
Investigation. Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil. Local investigations. A new citizen investigation is available. Press tab to open the local investigations menu. So, push tab. You can start a new citizen quest by tracking it with left click, then access to your map to locate the area to explore. And it just says enter the backyard garden, which if we look at the map, is literally right back here.
Goodbye, Milton.
I think I'll wait to get into some action.
Dr. Swansea is right. This place seems perfect to conduct my research.
God. So, I kind of like games like this. It's happened in a couple of vampire games that I know about, like Vampire the Masquerade, and obviously this. He's a doctor that has made bounding research, whatnot, into blood transfusions. He's a leading specialist, and oh, he's now a vampire. How funny is that?
You know, it's fitting. It works.
Now, the first Vampire the Masquerade, Redemption, dude is a crusader. For, if I'm right, the Christian Crusades. You already know I do plan on making a playthrough if my computer will allow me to. Old game, doesn't always agree with new systems.
Indeed, indeed.
But he was a Christian crusader, or whatever. And he gets infected by the thing he's hunting. So, it's all like these... I don't know.
It's all dramatic irony in a way.
Yes, I find it kind of funny.
It is very funny.
So, we can go that way, or we can just head upstairs, but I think I'm gonna explore. Like I said, possible loot, new people to talk to. All these people look like they're... He has a head injury.
Got a little headache.
Have I talked to you yet? No, I have not.
Good evening, Doctor. I believe we're going to be working together.
Dr. Reed. Dr. Swansea informed us of your arrival, but I could not dare to believe we'd have such good fortune. Such an honor, sir.
Thank you. And you are?
I am Thoreau Strickland, Dr. Thoreau Strickland. I'm a great admirer of your work, Dr. Reed.
Please, could you tell me something about yourself?
I'm a great admirer of your work concerning blood transfusion, Dr. Reed. I run my own experiments. I'm convinced it's the future.
What made you choose to be a doctor?
I'm not ashamed to admit you and your work have inspired me. I am honored to have the opportunity to work by your side.
It's always a pleasure to share scientific and medical knowledge with someone eager to learn. I'll be glad to help you if I can.
This epidemic may be the century's most terrible disaster, but I'm convinced that we, as doctors, are the only ones able to defeat it.
I based my technique on my mentor's research. He helped me perfect my method. What is yours?
I'd rather not talk about it. For now, it's just theories and first approach. My process is purely experimental and unsuccessful.
As long as you're cautious and methodical, you may remain empty-handed, but you won't fail.
You're not the first one to warn me, but I am convinced knowledge is the main weapon against the ravages of this epidemic.
I'm gonna need you to get your sweet face away from my nose, please.
He has not been successful, and he does have a social circle. And we don't know who yet.
Friends.
We have not met them.
What can you tell me about the Pembroke?
Well, it has always been an honor to work with Dr. Swansea. But with your arrival, I can't think of a better opportunity to learn about blood transfusion.
You seem quite optimistic. It's a rare and precious attitude in these difficult times.
I'm convinced that this epidemic is a test of endurance and dedication for us men of science.
Questions remain about our capacity to resolve the situation.
True.
Gosh.
Last summer, during the first
The
wave
ambient,
of the
like,
epidemic, I used to joke
wails
with
in the
Milton about the
background.
extra work.
I mean, it's accurate, is it not?
Yeah, I'd imagine so.
Do you need help with anything in particular?
Well, yes, maybe. I'm waiting for a batch of products I ordered for my personal research, yet my supplier seems to have vanished.
Do you want me to play the errand boy for you?
Oh no, Dr. Reed. But if you went personally to his shop, what with your reputation and all, he wouldn't dare to refuse the products I need.
I see. Well, give me the address, for I may pass by if I have time.
New investigation.
Goodbye, Dr. Strickland.
So, with this game, every choice you make saves after you rest. So, before I rest to evolve and whatnot, my skills, I am going to do as much as I can.
Understandable.
I'm alright.
This guy.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. I believe we're going to be colleagues.
Reed? Yes, I've been informed about your arrival. I'm Waverly Ackroyd. welcome aboard, I suppose.
Does my arrival inconvenience you in some way, Dr. Ackroyd?
Let us just say that I don't particularly share Dr. Swansea's enthusiasm for hiring you. What we need here are reliable professionals, not overrated dabblers.
If you have a problem with me, Dr. Ackroyd, please feel free to tell me.
Dr. Swansea has imposed your presence on this hospital without asking anyone's advice. The benefit of his position. But I don't agree with it.
I know we've never met before, but I believe this hospital could use all the help it can get. You will agree with that, I'm sure.
Oh, but I have heard about you, Dr. Reed. Of course, you can't say the same about me, since I have not wasted my time courting the press.
There is no need for such animosity between us. Don't you think the epidemic is already enough to deal with?
That is one point we could agree on. And that is precisely why I want to be sure that you will be of help to this hospital, instead of a burden.
Since your tenure in this hospital is longer than mine, perhaps you can tell me more about this place.
Let's just say I'm tired of the carelessness around me. I have always respected the skills of Dr. Swansea, but over time his enthusiasm has become displaced.
Carelessness? Exactly what are you talking about?
We're here to save lives. The people who trust us are not volunteering for experimentation. They're here to be healed.
I don't intend to run any radical experiments, Doctor. Even if I, as any good practitioner should, express an interest in pushing the boundaries of medical research.
Modern medical methods were created through audacity and ego. But there are rules in our line of work, and they're here to protect our patients.
Tell me, Waverly, what do you think of Dr. Strickland's enthusiasm for his experimental research?
Strickland is playing with his patients' lives for pride and glory. Now that, sir, is unethical.
Are you thinking about something in particular?
Harvey Fiddick needs delicate surgery. I believe we should stick to the usual procedure, but my young colleague obviously disagrees.
And are you not afraid that your rivalry with Strickland may be blinding you?
Rivalry? I guess you could call it that. But I will never be childish enough to let my personal feelings affect my judgment.
Why do you wish to lead this surgery?
I strongly believe that Mr. Fiddick should not be butchered to test an unproven procedure.
I feel like I might have dipped in too far too soon, because I haven't talked to said patient yet.
Yeah.
Whereas he's a practitioner of the old ways, sometimes experimental stuff is needed and has helped a lot of people.
Especially since this is like 1917 and washing your hands wasn't exactly required at this point, still.
I'm thinking of going what I got highlighted. It's a conservative point of view.
Other people may say that's too conservative a point of view.
Conservative? And what are you going to say to Mr. Fiddick if he loses his arm because of the operation? Because that's what's going to happen if the surgery is a failure.
I'm pretty sure I exhausted. Nope.
I don't know what you've heard about me, but I have already proved my value as a practitioner.
I don't question your skills, Dr. Reed, but your motive. Is it money, fame, or are you truly dedicated?
And what exactly is that supposed to mean?
I served in the war just like you. But unlike you, I did not use the wounded to play the modern sorcerer.
Be careful what you insinuate, Dr. Ackroyd.
I only want you to admit you used those men to improve your theories.
If I say I have saved many lives, it just kind of sounds like... I don't know, I'm giving a bullshit answer. And if I go with the bottom answer of no reason to justify my actions to you, it sounds like I'm running from him. So if I go knowledge is our main weapon, it's like I'm taking a stand.
I mean, maybe.
I'm gonna try it.
Also, maybe
Knowledge has always been and will remain our main weapon, and it has always come at a price. And personal initiative.
It is not a question of initiative, it is a question of integrity. These men and women have put their faith in us, Dr. Reed.
It seems you have bad memories of your military service.
I refuse to see this industrial slaughter as scientific progress. War only reveals the worst in men.
We can at least agree on something, Dr. Ackroyd.
That's two things you guys agreed on, silly.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for your time. We'll talk later.
So, what can I do? Not this one. This one. Clay, I haven't figured anything else out of. It says he's healthy, though he has a stab wound in his gut.
I mean, I think healthy kind of means that he's not dead and not sick.
Man, I already figured it out too. That's his only social circle?
Not so much of a circle now, is it?
And jeez. So Ackroyd. Yeah, that must be their patient then. And with him, can I ask? Can I talk to the one dude more?
How can we be sure we're making a difference?
That's their patient.
But in circumstances, I will not let you down, my boy.
Let's see what they say.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. May I help you?
I don't know if a third opinion is needed. Your colleagues are already arguing about my condition.
I see. Would you mind telling me more about your situation?
I'm Harvey Fiddick. All I want is to get me bloody arm fixed properly.
Tell me about yourself, Mr. Fiddick.
I'm just a regular guy waiting to get his arm fixed, so I can return to work and to my family.
I was more curious about what you were doing before being hospitalized.
I'm a carpenter, and a good one too. But that means I need both arms to feed my family, Dr. Reed.
Are you satisfied with your treatment here?
Well, it's clear that I've chosen a bad time to be injured. Forgive my bluntness, but you seem overwhelmed by cases of the flu.
I won't lie to you about it. I'm afraid we are.
Are you sure you don't want to operate yourself, Dr. Reed? I have the feeling you're very capable. And your colleagues seem to think so too.
In other circumstances, you would be right. But for now, I don't think I can take on the responsibility. My apologies. Tell me about the doctors who are arguing about your case.
Strickland and Ackroyd. They both want the best for me, but there's a lot of pride there. Doctors are no different from carpenters, it seems.
What do you mean?
I often had professional arguments with rivals on a building site. Difference is, I disagreed about wooden nails, not flesh and bones.
So
Goodbye
that's
for
all I
now,
got
Mr.
for him.
Fiddick. I'll see you later.
I will not let you down, my boy.
Let's go back to this guy.
Good evening,
I
Dr.
unlock
Strickland.
any
And good evening to you,
hints.
Dr. Reed. Can I be of any help?
Yep.
What do you think of Dr. Ackroyd's aversion to modern medical methods?
It's a shame he's so narrow-minded. Dr. Swansea taught me that science is about exploring uncharted territory. I'm convinced that's true.
With the influenza and all that's going on, you should put your differences aside, don't you think? Why is it so difficult to work together?
I believe that if Dr. Ackroyd had been the one to discover the transfusion process, he would be the first to recommend its use.
So you believe it's just a question of jealousy and pride?
Dr. Ackroyd is as proud as he is blinded by his obsolete concept of medical science.
Oof. Oh.
Tell me more about your willingness to experiment with new medical techniques.
Harvey Fiddick is a patient suffering from a severe injury that could cripple him if not treated correctly. I'm convinced your blood transfusion technique could help him.
What is it you really want? To save him, or to prove your point?
Fair question. I want nothing but to save my patient, Dr. Reed. Especially since I know Mr. Fiddick's story.
This personal involvement could also appear to be a lack of impartiality. You must know that a good surgeon must remain neutral.
I agree. But that does not excuse Dr. Ackroyd's behavior. A man who did not even take time to converse with his patient.
Do you think keeping his distance was a mistake?
All I know is that I'm taking care of human beings with desires, hopes, and fears. Not some biological machine comprised of blood, bones, and flesh.
Tell me Mr. Fiddick's story.
Our first diagnosis was compromised because Mr. Fiddick lied to us about the real origin of his injury. He first claimed it was an accident.
But why would he hide such crucial information from us?
Because he is a proud father, ashamed of putting his children at risk because of his own negligence.
Oh boy.
Hooray!
Goodbye, Dr. Strickland.
So I gotta go back to Fiddick now. After I loot this case.
Take all their much-needed medical supplies.
What's this? Unfinished letter. Pembroke Hospital, 2nd of November. My dear children, sorry I did not write to you before, but it hurts like hell. Just to write these few words on bloody paper. Don't worry, Daddy will go out to the hospital as soon as the doctors fix his arm. In the meantime, if you need something, go see Mr. Chadwick at the construction site and tell him you are Harvey Fiddick's children. You remember Robert Chadwick, the big guy with a mustache who helped me repair the house door last spring? Go see him and ask for a few bob. He won't refuse to spare you a few. I'm sorry I can't work anymore for now, but we'll figure out something as soon as I'm out. Don't worry. Everything will be fine as soon as Daddy's arm is strong again. As soon as the doctors have fixed my arm, Then it trails off.
As it does.
I will not let you down, my boy.
Good evening, Mr. Fiddick.
Good evening, Dr. Reed. Any news about my operation?
So nothing there. Ooh, I got 2 hints.
You seem worried about the safety of your family. And it's obviously the reason why your wound troubles you so much.
I cannot give up on my children now. They both need me living.
What about their mother, if I may ask?
She died in 1915 during one of the first Zeppelin raids. We never found her body.
Oh, I think I have all.
Tell me more about the death of your wife, Harvey.
1915.
Jesus.
I was in the army.
Vampire.
Building workshops for the Royal Flying Corps. Helen was happy I wasn't sent to the front.
What happened?
The Germans sent Zeppelins to bomb the construction site, but they missed their target. My wife was bringing my dinner when the bombs fell.
Oof.
I'm sorry for your loss. So many died during the bombings.
Have to pay respects.
I served in France and witnessed the carnage there.
I would like to say that she didn't suffer. Truth is, I have no idea. I just know that I'm all that me kids have. Poor little bleeders.
How are your children after losing their mother?
They were smaller then. The only good thing about this is my Helen didn't bring them with her that night.
Tell me about your injury, Harvey. Why do you feel so guilty about it?
My wife died because of me.
You always sound so accusatory
Now
when
I
you're
must
bringing up
lose
this
everything
shit.
because I've been careless enough to hurt myself. What an arsehole.
How could your job be responsible for your wife's death?
I was working a double. She went out to bring me a hot meal and got caught in a German bomb raid.
You can't hold yourself responsible for your injury, Mr. Fiddick. Unless you tried to hurt yourself.
Of course I didn't hurt myself. but I can't work until my arm is fixed. My children need to eat, Doctor.
I think that's all I can do for them. So, let's check. Huh? He's pretty much done. I could literally just mesmerize him now and go get a free 1,000 experience.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Fiddick. I'll see you later.
Yeah, true.
But,
Leave a couple of kids orphaned.
But
As for me,
I'm trying to be a
what a
good guy,
blundering idiot.
I think. I've already talked to
Good
you,
guy, Dr.
figured out any
Bates.
more info.
I'm alright. Don't waste your time with me.
He has-
That's convincing.
Right? We're gonna talk to his mom first, or I'm assuming.
Mom, sister, wife,
Good evening,
person.
madam. Can I help you?
It's my son who needs you, sir.
I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. How can I help your son?
I'm Beatrice Goswick, mother of Mortimer Goswick. Could you check on him, please, Dr. Reed? I've heard much of your talents as a physician.
A lot of hints required.
What can you tell me about yourself, Mrs. Goswick?
Not much to say. Just take care of my Mortimer and I'll cover all the expenses. That's all that matters.
Are you that rich?
Are you really that rich? Most of the patients here are of a more humble origin, if I may say so.
Yes, thanks to my husband. May he rest in peace. I can cover any needed medical expenses.
May I ask if you have an occupation, Mrs. Goswick?
I'm a teacher by profession. I teach young women who are more ambitious about their futures than their families.
What do you think of your reception here? Any complaints?
I have had the uttermost reservations about this hospital since we arrived. But we had no other choice, considering the state of emergency.
Is there something in particular that's bothering you?
Some of the staff were not especially welcoming. I suspect they're not accustomed to dealing with patients of such social standing.
Tell me more about your arrival at the Pembroke Hospital. What gave you such a bad first impression?
The ambulance driver was quite rude, for a start. And that nurse, Miss Hawkins, seems to have quite a dubious attitude.
What do you mean?
She managed to secure a bed for my son despite the epidemic. It was a relief, but it wasn't cheap.
Oof. I haven't met her yet.
Oh boy.
She charged you for a bed?
Yes, and I paid without question, considering the urgency of the situation.
I share your concern, Mrs. Goswick. Be sure that I'll talk to the people involved.
I don't expect compensation, Dr. Reed. But I'm aware such behavior would not be tolerated in other hospitals.
Okay.
Goodbye, Mrs. Goswick.
Guess I'm done with her for now. Let's talk.
You always know the words to calm the children, Ellen.
No,
As for me,
kid.
what a blundering idiot.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Reed. Can I help at all?
No,
Really? Why are you here then?
I don't want to talk. My throat hurts too much.
I suppose that this pain is the reason you're here. Is someone taking care of you?
Yes. And no.
Could you at least tell me your name, sir?
Mortimer. Mortimer Goswick.
He looks really bruised on that side.
Mm-hmm.
I'm guessing they're covering a bite.
How
Most
painful
likely.
is your throat, Mr. Goswick?
So painful I'd rather not talk at all, Doctor.
I'm sure you realize a doctor and his patient have to communicate, sir. Would it help if I gave you some paper and a pen?
Not really.
I see. Then maybe it's not just your throat that hurts, Mr. Goswick. Perhaps your sore throat is just the consequence of something more hurtful.
Yes, maybe. But I don't want to talk or even write about it now.
Or he's an edgelord.
How
be
painful
both.
is your throat, Mr. Goswick?
So painful.
And nothing's worse than an emo vampire boy.
I don't want to let you have your rest yet.
Why did your mother have you hospitalized here? She seems convinced this is a bad hospital.
My mother just wants the best for me. She won't rest while I'm here. She'd go all the way to hell and back to help me.
Pembroke Hospital may look unorthodox, but rest assured you're in good hands here.
It's not me you have to convince, Dr. Reed. It's my mother.
Is your mother bothering you? As your doctor, I can ask her to leave you alone if you would prefer.
That's tempting, Doctor. But you have no idea what my mother is capable of. She would tie herself to my bed if you asked her to leave.
Jeez.
Not really surprising, though.
Tell me about yourself, Mr. Goswick.
I don't want to talk, Doctor.
How
so painful.
I'll let you get...
Don't waste
So, what did I learn? Did I learn anything that I... Fatigue. So I can cure his fatigue. Other than that, hints are still locked. Same stuff, so I'm gonna have to come back to them later.
Fine with me.
At some point in time. You, I don't need to talk to you. You, I don't need to talk to you. Oh my gosh. I don't know what's going on with my game, but it's not happy.
That's not good.
No, it's being very fidgety. Oops. What's this? Hospital full. Due to the influenza, this hospital can no longer take any patients. Hospital full. Please go back home. Alright. Oh, jeez. I wonder how that's popping up on the recording. This is like an invitation to explore more. Yeah, I'm having frame rate issues. Let's explore some. If I can manage. I might have to alt tab out and see what's up. Into Whitechapel? Huh. Yeah, I think I'm gonna alt tab out and see what's up. Shouldn't be anything going on. Could also be because I'm streaming a team in the background. Eehee. Press too long. Maybe if I mess with the video a little bit. Yeah, no one has a full screen. Whew. Everything is super high. Oh my lord. Let's turn down the ultra.
Wait, Colorado.
You know, it was running fine earlier. I think it's literally just because I'm streaming into you.
I see.
That's alright. I'll bring it down. Some of the stuff down just a tad, and that should help.
I could just leave the stream.
No, it's fine. you distance, we'll keep you distance. Let's see how that works. And my game is stuttering still. Not near as bad. Let's try these doors. Ah, there's a fire crackling.
Snap, crackle, pop, Rice Krispie.
An open door. Oof. Looks like it was broke down. Lead rod, lead plate. +1 to each. And we got a locked door. But another loot chest. A watch and some shillings. Well, I'm gonna assume really not much more exploring this way. So let's go find more people to talk to. I like the detail in this game.
Yes, it's very pretty.
Looks like it might be a makeshift quarantine area. Or they're the hopeless people.
Like me. It's fine.
I have not talked to you.
At the same time.
I want to loot your chest. It looks like it might be locked. Let me...
No loot for you.
It's locked.
Why would you lock your possessions?
Good evening. I'm
For
Dr.
this exact purpose.
Always a pleasure to meet a colleague, sir. Especially when he was supposedly dead.
A colleague? Are you a doctor too?
Not anymore, sir. I used to be Dr. Rakesh Chadana. Now, I'm just Mr. Chadana, pawnbroker and humble guardian of this morgue.
What do you mean, you used to be a doctor? Was your license revoked?
No, sir. It is just that I like to be precise. I run a little pawn shop while taking care of the dead. But I used to be a real doctor.
Okay. Let's check what you got.
Please show
for
me
trade
what you have to sell.
Of course. It's just trinkets and curios, really. But I'm sure they can be useful.
Opium. Codeine. So, he's where I can buy my drugs for stuff to synthesize my cures and such. But the thing I'm kind of interested in the most is the enigmatic formula.
Indeed.
But that's expensive.
Of course it is.
I'm gonna wait to buy
A game like that, it's gotta be.
Oh, yeah,
Good
I'm
evening,
waiting to buy
Dr.
anything,
Reed.
though, for now.
Such a pleasure to see you again.
Are you afraid or uneasy being surrounded by so many corpses?
Why should I? These bodies are empty vessels. Flesh left to decay. Poof. No soul anymore. All gone.
An interesting point of view. And quite an exotic one, too. Most people fear, or at least have a respect, for dead flesh.
Sir, as a medic during the war, I learned to face my death and the death of others. It's the pain we have to tame, not death itself.
What's your hint? Okay. Not afraid of death because he served as a medic.
How did you get this job?
After I left the army, I worked as an undertaker down by the docks. A dangerous place with many an unpleasant business there. Milton Hooks helped me get a job here.
Have we met before?
I don't think so, sir. Why?
When we first talked, you said you were glad to meet me since I was reported dead.
Funny story, sir. Your sister came here a few nights ago. You were missing, and she was looking for your body. She must be very relieved now.
You don't know what happened, sir.
Do you work here alone?
Yes, very easy work, sir. All I have to do is watch a few bodies. The situation was very different when the main morgue was still open.
Why do you have to watch these bodies?
Because these poor fellows have no names. We keep them in case someone comes looking for the missing. Sadly, very rarely happens.
Why close the hospital's main morgue?
It was for sanitary reasons after the beginning of the epidemic. Cadavers had to be moved to the nearest mass grave.
A pawnbroker? I expect you get all types of people here.
Yes, sir. All kind of people. For I sell all kind of goods.
Who comes here to trade with you? It's very unhygienic, even unsafe. Diseases can spread. For the customers, for the hospital.
I'm very cautious, sir. I've been a doctor, remember? And all my clients are good people. In fact, I think I only know good people.
What kind of goods?
With the quarantine, it's not always easy to buy things. So I trade, I exchange. Some people sell, some others buy. I like to help.
Since you're not afraid of dying, do you believe in life after death, Rakesh?
No. I believe we must do all the good we can while alive. For our time is short, and the obstacles are endless.
Do you think you would enjoy immortality as a concept?
I don't think so. Don't mistake me. I love life, and I'd like to live a long life. But everything has to decay, sir. Even goodwill.
Do you really believe goodwill cannot last?
As I said, sir, everything decays. If I was to never die, goodness, I would be bored or worse. And I like to be helpful, sir.
Quite depressing, wouldn't you say?
Yes, but the good news is we'll all die before losing our humanity, sir.
So you're
Funny
ready
thing.
to die?
No, I am not. I don't fear death, for I won't see it. What troubles me is the pain my death will inflict to those I know.
You're a wise man, Mr. Chidana.
No, Dr. Reed. I am a foolish man. But I like to think otherwise.
I like him.
I do too.
He's a very interesting character.
He vibes.
Goodbye, Mr. Chidana.
It never ceases to amaze me how you, the dead, seem peaceful
So
and
this is a
lost
morgue.
at the same time.
Yeah.
No wonder the people are just chilling.
I mean, like you said, it's not very difficult work. Chances are the corpses aren't going anywhere.
And I see two flashing bodies. Crumpled letter. Dear love, I finally found the missing money for the fee asked by the ambulance driver to bring you to the hospital. Don't worry about nothing now except getting better, for I took care of everything. I asked some of our neighbors, and they told me that this Mr. Hooks is something of an honest crook. He may ask for extra money in exchange for a bed, but the bed is then guaranteed. I'm sorry I refused to pay first, and I realize now that the important thing is that you get better soon. The Pembroke Hospital is a good place, I heard, despite the bad behavior of this Milton Hooks. I promise you that everything is okay now. I'll see you in your clean bed as soon as possible. With fondest love, Nikolai.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Milton runs rackets on some of the Pembroke's patients. So that's another hint. And then another glowing body, let's see. Just money.
Holler holler, get dollar.
Yeah, pretty much. And back in the hospital. Not entirely sure where I'm at. I think I'm over by the edgy kid again. No.
As for me,
This is the way I went out before. That's a mirror. I'm vampire lore. I don't cast a very nice reflection. Maybe that's what they mean. If they're going by actual vampire lore, supposed rather, vampires aren't supposed to cast reflections.
Yeah, a lot of people like to explain that as old mirrors were backed with silver, so they didn't show a reflection.
True.
But newer mirrors that aren't backed by silver, they're instead backed by aluminum, would theoretically have a reflection.
Right. Oh. You! I haven't spoken to you.
Good evening, miss. I'm Dr. Reed, the new surgeon at the Pembroke Hospital. And who are you?
Your name has no meaning to me, mortal. You're nothing but dust blown by the winds of eternity.
I beg your pardon?
What are you begging for, mortal? My clemency? Well, tonight maybe I'm inclined to mercy. You'll never forget the night you met Thelma Howcroft.
You keep calling me mortal. Why is that? And if I'm mortal, what are you?
Well, Dr. Reed, if you must know, I'm a vampire.
Let's see. 3 hints. 2 mesmerize skill. And she only has 1 other in her social circle.
And why do you believe you're a vampire?
I don't need to believe anything. It is what I am. It is what I feel within this hollow shell of flesh.
She's not a vampire.
Please, describe to me how you feel. What is it like to be a vampire?
I can hear my body crumble from the inside as my flesh cracks and fades. I sense the last pulse of postulant blood within my drying veins. I need new blood.
She kind of sounds like you.
Hey!
I see.
I'm not that fucking annoying, come on.
Never.
It's a mental illness discovered by a French neurologist named Jules Cottard. The affected patients are delusional. They believe that they are putrefying, that they are dead, a ghost or a ghoul. Or in your case, a vampire.
Delusional, you say? Oh, sad and petty mortal. You can't even begin to understand the concept of immortality. And you think it is I who am delusional.
I unlocked a hint. Thelma is affected by the Cotard syndrome and believes she is a vampire, so okay.
I'm assuming you must be a patient here. Am I right, Miss Howcroft?
It's only a cover. To hide from my enemies. I can leave whenever I want. As a woman, a spirit, fog, or bat.
Who are these enemies you mentioned? Can you describe them?
I cannot say for sure. But I sense their eyes on me from nearby. I feel them watching me every time I visit the garden near the morgue.
The staff here are not your enemy. They're here to help you, to care for you.
I'm not speaking of the doctors in white. I'm speaking of the men and women who hunt me. For I am a vampire.
I see. Don't worry. These people will not find you here. I'll personally make sure they leave you alone.
Thank you, mortal. But do not interfere with them, for you are no match for those that hunt me.
A new investigation.
Who are you really, Miss Howcroft? I mean, apart from being a vampire.
Is that not enough for you, puny mortal? What do you require?
Oh gosh.
Proof of my powers?
I'm curious to know who you were before becoming a vampire.
It was such a long time ago, I don't remember. Centuries of unholy life can have strange effects on one's minds, you see?
I'll leave you, Mistress of the Dark, to your nocturnal activities.
Okay. Let's go down the other wing. Hey, 2 new people to talk to.
Good evening, nurse.
Good evening,
God.
Doctor. I don't
This
think we've
video's
been
already
introduced
running
yet.
into an hour and 10 minutes.
My name is Pippa Hawkins.
And
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
Dr. Jonathan Reed. Dr. Swansea has recently offered me a position in this hospital.
Well, it's
Cut
a
it here
euphemism
shortly.
that
I'm
your
trying to
help
get
will
as
be
many people as I
appreciated,
can, so
Doctor.
hopefully in the next video, there'll be some action.
How would you describe the
Understandable.
situation at the Pembroke Hospital?
It's serious. The flu is wreaking havoc amongst the staff and patients. We are running out of everything.
You must get a hold of yourself, nurse.
Sorry, I'm exhausted. No one has any idea when this epidemic will be over.
Nurse Hawkins, the Spanish flu won't last forever. Even the Black Plague didn't kill everyone.
I wish I could believe you. But what if this epidemic was worse? What if in the end, nobody was spared?
She's looking right at the camera. Jesus. Oof.
That
How
was
long
a
have you
fat
been a
fucking
nurse?
oof
Well,
right
long
there.
enough to see that the epidemic is winning. And no matter how qualified you are, don't tell me you'll change that.
You'd be surprised what dedication can achieve, Nurse Hawkins. In medicine, sometimes we're just a test result away from a miracle.
She keeps
Sorry,
looking at
Doctor.
the camera.
I don't want to sound bitter, but I'm just too tired to give a pep talk like Nurse Brannigan.
How is the Pembroke staff coping with the epidemic?
Well, not well. Milton, the ambulance driver, is even more grumpy than usual, especially concerning doctors.
Why is Milton grumpy on a daily basis? Is it just an act?
Milton's not the kind of man who's bothered about a bad reputation, whether he deserved it or not.
Why does Milton dislike doctors?
I don't know. Just ask him. But be warned, Milton is not the chatty type.
Okay.
Goodbye,
Exhausted
Nurse Hawkins.
her. Let's check out this fellow.
Here again.
That guy looks kind of interesting over there. He's dressed kind of dapper. By the
Good
look
evening,
of
sir.
him, I don't know yet.
Can I help you?
Unless you're here to fix my face. No. I don't think you can help me.
I'm Dr. Reed. I've recently taken the position of head surgeon here. War injuries, am I right?
You guessed right, Doctor. German shell took my pretty little mug right off. But they still call me Thomas Elwood.
How is your stay with us, Mr. Elwood?
Oh, it's bliss. I just escaped death in the trenches to be surrounded again by the moans of the dying.
Can I ask you precisely why you're a patient here?
It's the pain, sir. The drugs don't work. It just hurts under the scars, if you get my drift.
Can I do anything for your pain?
Nurses gave me a bunch of pills. No effect. Told you. It's like the flames are under my skin, burning away.
That's called nerve damage.
Who's treating you? Is someone in particular looking after your case?
Nobody since the old and tired doctor spoke to me. Started to think I was forgotten about. Wouldn't blame you.
You don't seem worried by that.
My face hurts so much more when I smile or cry. I've learned it's easier not to speak. But be assured I'm smiling inside.
Yeah, he's got really severe nerve damage by the sound of it.
Yeah. Not sure what they did for that in the early 1900s.
Where were you stationed, sir?
I don't don't even know
Did
if
you
we can do
serve
much
for
for
long?
it now.
I really don't want to talk about all this shit.
No offense. I was pushing too much. I served in France myself. I just wanted to know what happened to you.
You were an officer, weren't you? Then I doubt we fought the same war, sir. No offense.
How close are you to Miss Hallcroft? Are you aware that she thinks she is a vampire?
To wait for her next nibble is the best reason to stay here. Every time she approaches my bed, she treats me like something tasty. A normal person.
Aren't you afraid? She may hurt you if the game goes too far.
She's quite harmless, I can assure you. Her head's broken inside is all. While I'm busted on the outside. But she's still beautiful. Living proof that there's hope for me.
So do you let her bite you? You know that's not sanitary.
And why not? She's only supping a few drops of me blood. And the pain, it's real for once.
She could decide to bite less willing patients.
Then it's another good reason for me to stay here, Doctor.
You do realize she's mentally disturbed. It's called the Cotard syndrome. She truly believes she's a vampire.
In her madness, she never refers to my scars. And frankly, if I could, I'd join her world. It seems much more fun than the real one.
Oof.
That oof.
I think we have any more options to explore.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Elwood.
And we're getting to the length of the last video, so I'll talk to this guy and probably cut the video. Oh,
Good
he's
evening,
the priest
Mr.
we
Hampton.
brought in.
How do you feel?
Oh, yeah.
Dr. Reed, is it? Oh, Sora, I must apologize for my behavior.
What do you mean?
I was not myself in the factory. Fear and exhaustion made me say awful things to you, I'm afraid.
You remained perfectly nice and polite. A little delirious, perhaps. But who wouldn't be after enduring an abduction?
Thank you, Doctor. That's a relief. Now all I need to do is rest and return to my flock.
How did you end up in William Bishop's den?
I had received alarming news about his recent behavior. I went to his place and he refused to let me go.
Why did he abduct you?
William was an alcoholic. His addiction suddenly changed to blood. I don't know why. Just like a patient I met here. This Miss Hallcroft.
You dared to enter this awful place alone. You're a hero, Mr. Hampton. Or a fool.
I'm just a man trying to help his friends, Dr. Reed. William Bishop was a conflicted soul, searching for light.
What is the general situation in the East End docks?
The situation has always been tough, with a lot of tensions between the gangs and the Dockers' trade union. The Wet Boot Boys are very nervous since they lost their leader.
Who leads the gang now?
Since Clay Cox went missing, it's his wife Edwina who runs the show, with the assistance of her minion, Dooth Digby.
We know Clay Cox.
We do, and he's still alive.
Has the gang been threatening you?
Ah, no. I've had this nickname for so long, you know, the sad saint of the East End. No one dares to bug a saint, not even criminals.
That's good.
Do you know Tom Watts, the bartender from the Turtle? I met him before I found you in the canning factory.
Tom? Yes, of course. Always the helping hand, good old Tom. Without men like him, corruption and despair would have wiped out the East End long ago.
People are still in despair.
How could it be otherwise? The authorities have left us all to rot in this contagious nightmare. No drugs, no advice, nothing. It's a damn shame.
Who should I avoid in this part of town, then? Any particularly evil figures?
Not really. Most men and women are just doing their best. And it's not my habit to speak ill of people I know, Doctor.
What do you do for a living, Mr. Hampton? I can't help but notice the cross around your neck.
I manage a night asylum for the poor and homeless of the docks, and I try to guide the lost and hesitant on the right path to our Lord.
Are you a priest, Mr. Hampton? A deacon, maybe?
Not at all, Doctor. I'm just a man of faith willing to preach the good word.
Why didn't you use your cross against William Bishop? To repel him somehow?
That's a very strange question, Doctor. A cross is no magical token, if that's what you were trying to say. Not mine, anyway.
It's not blessed, that's what he's saying.
Have you made friends since you arrived?
Not really.
Or I imagine.
But I recognized Miss Harriet Jones. I knew
I doubt
when
he
she
even
lived with the
understands
dogs.
what exactly went on.
Poor woman had such a miserable life.
You never came to see her here at Pembroke. Receiving visits when sick can be an important part of the healing process, you know. We're not just bodies.
You're preaching to the converted now, Doctor. To be truly honest, I thought she was dead. She left the docks many months ago.
How do you feel, Mr. Hampton? Medically speaking, I mean.
I feel exhausted. Beyond exhaustion, actually. William drank so much of my blood in his madness. I feel empty.
You're in good hands here. Dr. Swansea is well versed in blood transfusion, and I'm sure he'll take the best care of you.
Thank you, sir. I believe all I need is rest. And then I can go back to the people who need me.
Goodbye, Mr. Hampton. We'll talk again later.
And with that, I'm going to cut